Good morning, good evening, and good day. You're listening to Drama Buds, an anime podcast. So hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Drama Buds, the last episode for this season. But that is a discussion for later. We'll talk about that later. Today we will be talking about all the shows that I watched in the past 3 months and what I thought of each of them, and also some of the shows that I dropped along the way and the Kdramas that I'm currently watching. So before we begin, let's do the count. Okay, the last quarter I watched 10 K-dramas. And most of those actually were ongoing shows that started in Q1 and just finished in Q2. So of all the shows that were released this year, I've watched 10 in total, including the one that I watched in Q1. And in 2022, in total, I have watched 18 dramas so far. And overall, my all-time record, as of now, is 105. We've reached the 100th mark. I think it was The Sound of Magic. That was my 100th K-drama. And I don't know, man, the fatigue is kicking in. It's really kicking in. I feel like I've watched not everything that I could watch, but I feel like I've watched everything that I was most likely to enjoy and appreciate. And now I'm just, picking through what's left, even though there are hundreds and hundreds of K-dramas out there that I have not tried. But that's a discussion for later. Let's start with the recap.
Kiss me, let my arms around your body, darling, because you're the one, no one else. Kiss me, hold my hands, I see the look in your eyes.
So just to quickly go through the shows that I've already reviewed on the podcast, I have a review for Business Proposal, The Sound of Magic, and my god, the two-parter, total 2-hour review of My Liberation Notes. And I'm being good, and I will not talk about the show. We're done. I've said not even everything I've wanted to say about the show, but I've said enough. So if you need to know anything about me as a K-drama watcher, you should just listen to the 2 episodes of My Liberation Notes, because that's how crazy I can be over a show. Now, what are the shows that I finished that were not released this year? That's Lovestruck in the City. Okay. I watched this because obviously I missed Kim Ji-won. I missed her so much. And recently, I've also gotten into my Ji Chang-wook phase because, The Sound of Magic also aired. So, I dropped this when it first aired. And I thought, you know what? I've heard bad things, but also I don't care. I just like seeing pretty people in a very pretty show. And you know what? That's all I did. I skipped most of the scenes. I skipped all the scenes of the other couples, like their flashbacks and their individual stories. I have no idea what happened to them. I just watched Uno and Jaewon. And I hate Park Jaewon. I'm telling you, I hate him so vehemently. And I also hate them as a couple. I wish they would break up because it's a mess, and not even in a mess that, it's not like I like vanilla couples, okay? It's not like I like perfect couples all the time. I can stand a little dysfunction. I mean, girly, I shipped, a kind of depressed person with an alcoholic. So, I mean, at this point, dysfunction is okay. But him? No, not Park Jaewon. Uno, I can take. Uno, I sympathize with her, I understand her. But him, why was he so obsessed with her? And you know what? I like yearning. Yearning is great, okay? I enjoy yearning. But I felt like he had a disproportionate response to the situation. And I don't know, man, he fell in love with a fling. But also, you were a grown man who, hopefully could have coped with that better. But also, people have the right to feel what they feel. But he's annoying and obsessive and so petty to her. He didn't respect the fact that she didn't want anything to do with him. It's like, I just felt like he was so disrespectful to her, and that's why I hated him. And the show kind of assumed, I feel like the show assumed you would side with him by principle, but they made Uno so much more sympathetic, at least to me, where it's like, Gertie was going through something, and it wasn't a good thing to do, but she wasn't obsessed with him the way he was obsessed with her. Once again, a dream actor pairing that was, wasted with bad writing. Lovestruck and the City was not the worst show. Like, I'm sure there are worse shows that will drag you through 16 hours. Like, at the very least, this was only 30 minutes per episode. But also, did this even need 16 episodes of 30 minutes? It could have been 12. 12 is generous. I'd give it 8 episodes. But yeah, not the worst show. But also, we could do better. Moving on to the ongoing shows that I finished this year. First, we have 2521. Ooh, this one is a controversial show that I have not said anything about since the first impressions. First of all, let us congratulate Kim Tae-ri, our Baeksang Best Actress. We all knew it's going to happen. She was the whole thing. She was the whole package. She was everything. And now, whatever. I enjoyed it. The first parts, I really enjoyed. The middle parts, I really enjoyed. And the ending, I was okay with. Because I was not invested in the romance. I think that's one reason why I was okay with the ending. Because, one, I did not have the investment that others did. Even though they built it up to be this like healthy and supportive relationship when times were good. Well, the times also hit them hard. And I don't know, I feel like the show warned you from the start that they weren't going to end up together, but people kept, going through these mental gymnastics just to try and say like, oh, but maybe he changed his name, or maybe they're just pretending not to be together, but that's actually his kid. I don't know. I think people were really clowning themselves very hard near the last episodes, and that's why they were so devastated when, if you had just, I don't know, this is me, I'm sorry if you're traumatized by the show, but this is how I watched the show. But I just accepted from the beginning, and then, I appreciated what I could appreciate from the relationship, but also tried to understand, how is this going to end? And, people said that the breakup was rushed, but okay, here, would you rather that they broke up in episode 15 and then explored the aftermath of that, knowing that people would expect them to get back together in episode 16 and still not push through with them getting back together? Would you rather keep your hopes up in that finale episode or just be devastated at the last minute? I'm not explaining this well, but you know what? I'm not here to comfort people over an ending they didn't like, so sorry. Thematically, though, the show was about appreciating your youth because time will eventually pass and the magic of that moment will be gone, but enjoy the moment while it's there. But I also understand why people felt so shattered by that ending because they painted present Nahido as this completely sad person longing for the past, and we didn't even see if she maintained her friendships with the others. Like, it just felt so devoid of happiness and joy and everything that the show was, giving us for most of its run. And tonally, yeah, it was completely different from the rest of the show. Even if they tried to end it with a typical, oh, this was our youth ending, which so many shows, I don't know why they keep doing that. That's the new thing where it's like, wow, it's our youth. Okay, cool. You know what? I will not speak on this because people have so many opinions, and I just enjoyed it while it was there, and then it ended for me. What other shows did I watch? Soundtrack number 1. This is just, I'm sorry to say it, but a waste of time. Just watch an actual movie. I'm sure there are good Friends to Lovers movies out there, with better writing, better chemistry. Yeah, better acting, better chemistry. Because honestly, I did not see any chemistry. And for a show that was supposed to be, soundtrack number 1, something very music-centered, the music was not actually that good. Yeah. Just watch a movie. I think you can do better by watching a Friends to Lovers movie. Now, another show that aired this year that I finished, which is technically, I still don't consider this a K-drama, but I added it to my list anyway, is Pachinko. This is one of the 5 shows that I gave a 10-star rating to in my drama list. Yes, okay. To list down the 5 shows that I have a 10-star rating, it's, of course, Misaeng, My Mister, My Liberation Notes, Dear My Friends, and this. Okay, to me, that's how special this is. I really grew to love the characters and their complexities, the difficult things that they had to go through and do to survive and to, keep their family alive through the generations. It got me crying in a Dear My Friends level of crying in several scenes, not just one episode, several. And I remember the first 3 episodes when they were released, I didn't even feel 3 hours of my life pass by. I was just so engaged. Just a great show, a great show. And I'm very excited for the next season whenever it comes. Next drama is Love All Play. This to me is a good basic drama. You know what I mean about basic, right? Where there's really not much that's special about the writing or the directing or anything. And even the pacing of the whole show, very, very, very typical. But I love the chemistry between the leads, and I kind of rooted for the second leads, and I also loved the supporting couple of the team captains. I love them honestly more than the second leads. Jungwon and Yumin, the second lead characters, they grew on me. They really grew on me. Once again, if you know anything about me, you know I hate second lead couples that kind of have their own thing. It's a waste of time. I hate it. I really hate it. Business Proposal did not at all care about the second leads. So yes, that's a me thing. That's a me problem. And I also really love the supporting characters, the teammates, even the coaches, though they're not perfect people. But I almost dropped this. I almost dropped the show in like episodes 9 to 12 because of the Junyoung arc. Basically, they introduced the angst in episode 9 and it just keeps going, and it makes Park Taeyang, the main female lead, into just the most, it's not even pitiful anymore. She's not even pitiful. She's just frustrating. Where it's like, girl, if you stopped, what's the term, self-flagellating for like 5 minutes, you'd realize that everyone can start moving on when you start moving on from this. It really almost made me lose hope in the show. But thank God, they went through the typical episode 12 breakup and got back together and became, a great team. It's about badminton players. I mean, there were some good themes about doing your best in everything and not giving up on your dream and starting again even if you think it's too late. The usual sports drama type of themes. I mean, a decent watch. Almost gave up on it. But pretty decently enjoyable.
문이 열리면 보란 듯이 당당하게 뛰어가 주저하지 말고 계속 나아가 무작정 달려보면 돼 지금뿐이야.
Next drama is Our Blues. Okay, I gotta say, this is my least favorite No Hee Kyung work. But I will blame all of the things I don't like about it to the experimental format, to the fact that it's the omnibus format. I feel like No Hee Kyung was able to showcase all of her strengths as she usually does, the complicated family, friendship, relationships, a lot of domestic childhood abuse. I'm sorry, it's just the story that she wants to tell, no matter how difficult it is to watch. Just complex relationships, flawed characters who you will only ever be able to understand, near the end of their arc. Like, they have to do a lot of pretty, not exactly terrible, but just things that you normally wouldn't root for in the supposed main characters of her story. But she makes you understand them and accept them, even if you don't necessarily like them. But this format, to me, also revealed some of her weaknesses, which I will go through now because I will be ranking all of the individual stories, right? So from the ones I least like to the ones I most like. My least favorite storyline is the Young-ok and Jongjun storyline. This was so dragged out. And they kept trying to make it like the background story that's constantly there in everyone else's story. Where, you just see them like flirting around and being a couple when it's not supposed to be focusing on them. And I will say it's because Kim Woo-bin and Han Ji-min, they're kind of the main attractors or the most marketable couple here, or pair of characters at least. And at first I was interested in the flirtationship, and then when they got their episode, it's like, at least him, he has no personality. Like, what is Jongjun's personality aside from wanting to get married and wanting a girl who likes Jeju? I don't know. I'm sorry if he had some depth to him, but he had no depth to me. He had no character to me. Young-ok, I kind of understood. And then, of course, when they extended their story and introduced her sister with Down syndrome, I was already tuned out. I really didn't care about them anymore as characters. Like, okay, nice representation, but as a story, I just did not care about it. And yeah, she was more complex, but her partner had no personality. I'm sorry. And they also did not have much chemistry to me. And yeah, I could stay for Youngok, but this to me was a weakness I didn't know No Hee-kyung had. I didn't know she was weak with developing romance, right? Because she wrote It's Okay That's Love. And okay, fine. It's Okay That's Love was a rom-com, so obviously her main pair had to be extremely strong. Fine, but she wrote Dear My Friends, which had Jo In-sung and Go Hyun-jung's character with this like epic love story that overcomes all trials and tribulations and whatever. Like that's the epic love that I expect from No Hee-kyung. And this ain't it. This just ain't it. So I did not know that romance was one of her weaknesses, but apparently kind of is. Next story I did not like was Dong-seok and Sana, which, okay, did not end up necessarily being extremely romantic, but they tried. They really tried. But they just had no chemistry. And also, who thought it was a good idea to pair Shin Mina with Lee Byung-hun? Like, who said, yeah, she can hold her own in a scene with him? Because that is absolutely not true. And I don't know why anyone thought this was a good idea. The only thing I like is the visual depiction of depression with Sona. That's it. The only decent thing about their whole story arc. But their episodes, I totally tuned it out. I did not pay any attention at all. I did not care at all. I'm sorry. Okay, next storyline that the third least fave is Miran and Unhee. Toxic friendships that are, decades long. It's interesting, of course, but I felt this was kind of predictable. It's like I knew exactly how they were going to play it out. I knew exactly everything that they were going to do, everything they were going to touch on. I felt like there was really not much of a twist to it. Next, Hansu and Unhee. This was the very first 3 episodes of the show. It was a great start to the show, though. I felt like it was a very complex situation that was depicted well. And once again, No Hee-kyung's flawed characters and their flawed actions coming through. So I appreciate that. So now we're at the top 3. Chunhee and Eungi. This was very cute. This was just so cute. The grandmother and the granddaughter, whose father, the truck of doom. Once again, the moment I saw Eungi's father get in the truck, I knew exactly what was going to happen. It's like, No Hee-kyung. Not beating the cliche allegations. Yeah, she uses cliches. And what about it? Sometimes you just have to get that part of the story out of the way. So, fine, I'll accept it. But just very, very sweet and very cute. Chunhee as a mother, I won't spoil it that much, but I felt her pain. Second, top 2 is Okdong and Dong-seok. The final arc with, my God, putting Kim Hye-ja and Lee Byung-hun together. You knew that No Hee-kyung wanted to inflict maximum pain by putting these two together at the end of the show. Honestly though, I did not cry. I did not cry in the finale. I thought I would. I knew I would, but I did not. I just wasn't in the crying mood. I have not been in the crying mood recently. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch Dear My Friends just to get the tears out of the way. But honest to God, I did not cry in the finale. But emotionally or internally, I could have been crying. And my favorite storyline is the Youngju and Hyun, or the Ingwon and Hoshik storylines. The teenage pregnancy. So intense, right? The kids grew on me so much. I hated them when they got their solo episode, but when they introduced the father's perspectives into it, that's when they grew on me. And okay, let's comment on No Hee-kyung's take on teenage pregnancy and abortion. That was a little traditional of you, No Hee-kyung. That's all I'm gonna say. A little yikey on that one. But, well, she saved it by adding the perspective of the fathers. And to them, they were the background story that's like constantly there that I enjoyed seeing. It's like, the kids, they're doing their thing. They've moved in together. The dads are friends now. They're the ones I really cared about the most to the very end. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts on Our Blues. Still my least favorite No Hee-kyung work. I'd say least to most fave Our Blues. And then a big jump to It's Okay That's Love. And then a big jump to Live. And then a huge jump to Dear My Friends. Okay, No Hee-kyung is still my favorite K-drama writer. This was just my least fave, but I cannot say it's bad. I cannot at all say it's bad. I just didn't fall in love with it because the experimental format kind of hindered No Hee-kyung from reaching the heights that I know she can achieve. But still, some great stories were told. Next show, the last show that I watched recently, was Money Heist Korea Joint Economic Area. Now, this is a very difficult show to review for me because I watched the original. I watched Money Heist, the Spanish version. I watched season 1 and the first half of season 2. And then part 2 of that and season 3, I couldn't keep up with it anymore. I tried hard not to compare, the Spanish and Korean versions. But it's very difficult when almost beat per beat, or not really beat per beat, but many events were kind of copied or taken from the original. It's a remake. They're allowed to use the original events. I'm used to remakes that take like the very basic concept and then change the whole thing around it. 18 Again was an adaptation of 17 Again, the movie. And obviously, adapting a movie to a TV show, you can change a lot of things. You should change a lot of things. Designated Survivor 60 Days, they made it very specific to Korea, which I think was really great, but just took the basic event of it. But of course, I didn't watch the originals of those, so I don't really know how to compare. But I know those were good adaptations. Money Heist Korea, though, I wonder what it would feel like watching this if I didn't know what would happen. Like, would it be more exciting? But then I have also heard reviews from people who haven't watched the original saying that it was not exciting. And I could kind of feel that with the directing choices, the editing choices. The production value felt less extravagant than the OG, which I heard was made with a very low budget, like at least the first season. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the directing wasn't as good as it could have been here. And the writing, we'll talk about. Okay, so notable changes that I enjoyed. I like the reunification world building, and I loved how some of the crew's backstories changed to fit that. Tokyo, thank God, Tokyo was not annoying. Right? In the OG, she was so impulsive and disruptive. And now, in the Korean version, it makes sense that she's not like that because she had a background in the army, in the North Korean army. And she was saved by the professor when she went to South Korea. So it kind of makes sense that she's so loyal to him. Berlin, oh my God. Berlin's backstory is so much darker and it even reflects in Park Hae-soo's portrayal of him. And okay, sometimes guys, you can like two things and not put one above the other. Right? I loved OG Berlin. Like, Spanish Berlin was still my favorite in the Spanish version, and Korean Berlin is my favorite in the Korean version. And I saw some comparison saying like, oh, Korean Berlin is not as charming as OG Berlin. But hear me out, okay? OG Berlin was, if I remember correctly, a jewel thief, someone who had gotten remarried several times. Like, he is charming and debonair and all of that because he interacts with like high society people. So he was a great character because of the duality of how charming he could be, right? How dashing and suave and everything. And then suddenly flip to be a little more manipulative and merciless. Meanwhile, Korean Berlin grew up in a prison camp since he was a child and had killed many people in there and, essentially became like a prison leader somehow. And I don't think he would have developed the same charm that OG Berlin would have developed. And that's why he's so much darker and more ruthless and merciless as a character. So this is one of those situations where I don't really know how you can compare when their stories are entirely different. But to say that Park Hae-soo did not portray, Berlin and his story perfectly, oh, that's a lie. I will call that out. No, Berlin was perfect. Park Hae-soo was perfect. What else did I like? I like how Rio and Tokyo are not an established thing. Because once again, Tokyo does not jump into, sleeping with him before they started the heist. So thank God. I mean, I hate that they're still going to push through with it because it's still unnecessary. And also, Tokyo and Berlin have better chemistry. They have better chemistry. But, whatever, radical acceptance. I'm not sure about this, but I also liked how Denver and Mison, or Monica in the OG, did more of a slow burn, I guess, in the Korean version. And Denver is so dumb, so lovable. He's a himbo. The show actually described him as a himbo. And, I can now I see the Stockholm Syndrome make sense. Right? Because he was really the only one who was truly kind to her. So it's like, okay, this kind of makes sense when you put it in a slow burn way. Because Denver is just like a stupid, lovable puppy, Okay, so some negative comments. I love that Tokyo is not annoying. I love that, right? But I feel like Korean Tokyo lacked personality. Aside from like, oh, being so dedicated to the professor. And I don't know, it felt like a waste of Jeon Jong-seo's acting. Because, I thought she would be playing Tokyo the way OG Tokyo was written. But also, if she played it like OG Tokyo, she would be typecast as, crazy hot girl. So, I guess a little different character is good for her. But yeah, Korean Tokyo has no personality to me. I hated her in the OG, but at least she had something going on. Nairobi also. I used to love her in the OG. She was so pragmatic, so strong. And now I don't even know what Nairobi's supposed to be. Like, what is Nairobi's character? I don't know. I hope part 2 kind of touches on her character a little bit more because she was nothing in part 1. Another comment, I felt like UGT was a miscast, right? Because this is the part where, because we really didn't get to know the professor that much, I can't say that, because the professor's backstory changed or something about this character changed, yeah, this casting makes sense or this portrayal makes sense. Because we don't know anything about him, all I can do is compare him to Spanish professor. And Spanish professor did not look cool, right? He did not look super dignified at all. Which is why it was so surprising that this whole heist was brewing in his mind, right? That, whoa, his mind goes there. He thinks about those things. Yujite, on the other hand, he already looks very cool, very dignified. And I kind of miss that duality of the professor being someone who looks so unassuming. And then suddenly you find out that he's such a calculative and just amazing, brilliant mind for something so insane and socially unacceptable. Also, I may also blame this on the directing and the writing, I guess. But I miss the sexual tension between the professor and Inspectora and the negotiator. By the way, I really like Kim Yoon-jin's portrayal of the negotiator, by the way. I love her. But anyway, I miss the sexual tension between the professor and the negotiator. Their calls, their phone calls in the OG were always so fun to watch because of the sexual tension. And then, when you saw them interact in real life, it was even better. I don't know. It was really great. And then in the Korean version, they're kind of established already. So we don't really get to see that build-up. So I love the build-up of their relationship. Also, once again, UGT is very charming on his own. So there's just no duality. I miss the duality. All in all, yeah, part 1 was really underwhelming. I'm trying to be nice about it. I'm trying to rationalize that, it's because I knew it was going to happen. Or like, because of this choice and that choice. I'm trying to be nice about it, but it was underwhelming. I'll still watch part 2. Maybe it gets better. I hope it gets better. Now, on to the shows that I dropped. I feel like I dropped as many shows as I watched. First of all, Temperature of Love. I made it through 3 episodes, but I cannot believe they wasted my dream pairing of So Yoon-jin and Yang Sejong like this. And with, sexy CEO Kim Jae-wook as the second lead, you wasted all of that. The writing of the show sucks. They don't talk like real people. Reminds me of Run On. I couldn't get a grasp of the story. I couldn't tell if their relationship was moving, so fast or if nothing was happening. And I just knew that I could not take 20 episodes of that. What a waste. Next, I dropped Again My Life in the first 3 episodes. I'm sorry, Jungi. I'm so sorry, Lee Jungi. I wanted to support him, and I'm glad that this show was a showcase of all his abilities and his charm. But I just was not interested in that story. I just wasn't interested at all. Next show I dropped was Shooting Stars. I lasted 4 episodes. I'm sorry, Lee Song-kyung. I love you so much. I could not keep up with this. I felt like the comedy was very 2014. I don't know. I was more interested in their day-to-day work struggles, and I wasn't interested in the romance between the leads. I thought they had no chemistry to me. Yeah, I've watched some good romances this year. I've watched a lot of great chemistry this year, and they didn't even come from rom-coms. That's why sometimes, all you have to do is sell the chemistry to me. All you have to do is that. And you still can't do it, so I had to drop. Next was Woori the Virgin. 2 episodes. This was not even half as fun as the original. And what I loved about the OG, about Jane the Virgin, was the connection between, or among the 3 generations of the ladies. And usually that's something that Korean adaptations do better than the Western versions, right? The heart of it. But the OG never lacked any heart. It never lacked, the feeling of family and love and caring for each other. So I think, in a way, this show failed to deliver that. Also, Raphael, Sung-hoon as Raphael, I'm sorry, I don't think he's very charming, and nor is he a good actor. I've seen him in Love featuring Marriage and Divorce, and I can never get that image out of my head. I think I would have tolerated this if I didn't love the original. Emphasis on love, because I really loved Jane the Virgin. And if I did not watch Business Proposal this year, which, has shown me what a rom-com is supposed to make me feel. Whether or not that's the best rom-com ever, that doesn't matter, okay? It's what it's supposed to make me feel. And this did not deliver. And also now that I've seen, or I've heard how it ended, overall, throughout the whole run, it just wasn't good. So, yeah. A good drop. Thank God I dropped this earlier rather than later. Next show I dropped was Why Her? Why Osoo-jae? I dropped this in the 4th episode. I was not interested in the romance. I was not interested in the main plot, the side plots, the squad. Not even Osoo-jae. Honestly, I would have been interested in Osoo-jae. I was just here for So Yoon-jin's acting. I will support it. I will support So Yoon-jin's success always. I'm glad it's doing well. That's what my queen deserves. But I wasn't interested. I really hated the romance. I really hated it. So it was a pass for me. Last show I dropped recently was Link. I made it to 4 episodes. Well, from the very beginning, the premise was not interesting, but we gave it a chance. And I thought it would be a dumb rom-com, but it was more of a romance mystery, which was an interesting twist. I was initially very intrigued, but then, I slowly just got bored, and I knew that it wasn't for me in the first place. So it's okay. It's okay that it lost my attention, because I wasn't really hoping that it would hold on.
Every day, 좋아하는 보다 높은 내 마음이 너에게 다 전해지길 바라는 걸. Someday.
So, my currently watching shows. First, we have Insider starring my love of my life, Kang Hanul. I almost put this on hold or almost dropped it because I just knew this wasn't for me, okay? This is not my genre. And it was just difficult to watch Kang Hanul being tortured all the time. I watched it for him and I really liked the initial cinematic feel. I like that the cast of characters are kind of, cycling. Like some of them are here and then they are killed off or shipped away somehow later. And, the cast of characters keeps changing, so the suspense doesn't depend on holding on to the same people for the entire duration. I'm okay with that kind of writing because it's not like they're written with much depth. They're just here to serve the plot, so it's fine. I really love the gambling scenes. They're very fun, even if I don't understand the game. And I love Kang Yong-sok as Jang Sono, whoever this guy is. He has stolen the show for me. Sorry, Kang Hanul. Though he has really great chemistry with Johan, with Kang Hanul's character. Their dynamic is so good. But what almost made me drop this, what really frustrates me about the show is the execution of things. The writing it's okay. I'm not mad at the writing, I guess. I am a little mad that Kim Yo-hin feels like a plot vehicle. I don't really see what his character is. I just see that, he has to, double cross and play on everyone's sides to survive. That's all I know about him. But him as a character, I don't know anything about him. And aside from avenging his dead grandmother, I don't know what the point of his character is. But, okay, going back to the execution. I hate the overuse of flashbacks in the show. It's like they do not trust the viewer to remember anything or to piece things together on their own. Everything is so spoon-fed to you, and I hate that. And I also especially hate how some scenes are broken up because of flashback reveals from 5 minutes ago. It's like, you know how they reveal how the protagonist was able to subvert expectations and make their way out of the situation through a flashback that happened, 2 minutes ago in the actual sequence of events in the show. They do that constantly and more than once in a supposedly suspenseful event. So every moment is supposed to be this huge twist. It really pisses me off. It really annoys me. But yeah, the execution really annoys me. I'll see if I hold on to this. I'm trying for my baby. We'll see. Seems like episode 6 is changing things up a bit. So I always appreciate a change in status quo because it was getting a little boring. But we'll see. Next show I'm currently watching is Yumi Cells. First of all, I loved season 1 and I loved Woong. And honestly, I am enjoying season 2 a lot less because I don't like Bobby. Like, I am waiting for the shoe to drop, the term. I am waiting for him to reveal his true colors or something, or for the drama to happen. But I'm not all in with him the way I was all in with Woong. Even if I knew that they were going to break up. I don't know. I just feel like they lack the something. Even if he's supposedly the perfect boyfriend. That's what I don't like about him. That he's perfect. I want to see the dirt. I want to know what your flaw is so I can trust you. But I do appreciate how much he trusts Yumi. That was very, very nice to watch. But hey, you know what? The animation is still great. The music is still great. There's some humor, but it's not as funny as season 1. Let's just enjoy the ride. I am very much, I'm here for Yumi. I'm here for her happiness. I hope they still break up and we meet Sunrook at the very last minute of the final episode. I don't care if we don't get to see how she is with Sunrook because, no spoilers were released. We still don't know who we could be. But I really hope they don't change the show to make Bobby endgame. Yeah, I'm just here for the ride, okay? But this is still a beloved show. I still feel the love I have for the show. And the last show I'm currently watching is Misaeng. Okay, so to explain myself, I wanted to check if I was just being sentimental or if it was really that good. And also, I'm currently unemployed. Hello! And this is the perfect show to remind me not to settle for any job, okay? And you know what? I confirmed it. It's still so good, right? The characters, their development, their relationships, everything about it is so good. I'm starting to see that the writing is the quote-unquote weakest part, but I also feel like it's a product of its time. Like, there's a lot of telling with the emotional moments. Instead of, stepping back and letting you sit with it, you get to hear, people actually talking about, because, when you work with people, it's like this and like that. Instead of, I feel like I could have pieced that together myself. But then, I also realized, like, there was no rewatching back then. You watch it once. This was released in 2014. You watch it while it's airing, and that's all you get. That's the only chance you get, for the most part, to experience that show. So telling instead of showing makes more sense because you only have one shot to deliver that message. I feel like some of the plottier parts could be faster, and I also want the slice of life stuff to be slower. So I don't know, this is a me thing. I think it's just a sign that I love these characters so much and I just want to be there with them, doing whatever stupid things they need to deal with. It doesn't have to be intense, dramatic, but for some reason, even losing a piece of paper or, giving a presentation feels more intense and dramatic than most thrillers out there. It's great. It's just a great show. In terms of the writing, I appreciate the trading jargon, but this isn't, one of those shows where every single line is meaningful and profound. And the emotional moments are very contained, and the rest of the show is just them dealing with day-to-day work stuff. Which, once again, I appreciate because I love these characters. You gotta write good characters for me to want to sit through their journeys, no matter how mundane it actually is. I do not know if it's Netflix quality, if that's why this doesn't feel like a 2014 show. Because I really sometimes forget that it's from 2014. Even though it doesn't have the common, pretty cinematography that we've gotten used to since, Goblin. I think Goblin was the start of like everything is pretty and cinematic. For me, the use of music is very leading. It very much tells you what you're supposed to feel. But the score is so good that it's like, fine. It's fine by me. Others may not like the tonal shifts, that sometimes it's emotional and then suddenly it's like wacky music. But that's life. That's what it is. We're all going through different things. Some people are going through it and others are just having a good day at work. So I don't know. I don't mind a decent tonal shift. And there are so many episodes where the ending of one episode feels so profound and so heartwarming that it could be the finale of the entire show. And I could say, yeah, that was beautiful. That was a complete picture of what the show was supposed to be. That's how good some of these endings are. The actors and the director really make the show. Like, not a single bad actor in this cast. And that's why the characters are so real and so lovable. I love how the first 4 episodes of their internship days, they were focused on Jangure and everyone felt so antagonistic. And you wonder, like, is it even worth it for him to stay in this company if he's just going to face this kind of treatment from these terrible people. And then the final scene of episode 4 had Mr. O's monologue about everyone lives in complete lives. You know, we're all striving to live complete lives. And that's kind of the show telling you that we're now going to widen our focus to everyone, because everyone is living an incomplete life too. Everyone is human, everyone is struggling. And now we get to watch everyone's journey towards striving for a complete life. Gosh, I want to go on a tangent about how I can compare my two favorite protagonists, Jangre and Yumi with each other. I could do it, but, hit me up sometimes. I can write you an essay, because I've realized that my favorite male protagonist is Jangre and my favorite female protagonist is Yumi. And they have some similarities, and I love them, and I believe that if they were real people, they'd hit it off. They'd be friends. They'd have a lot of monologues to share to each other. I love them both. Anyway, okay. So not currently watching. This is on hold for me right now. Healer. Okay, I dropped it 2 years ago, and I tried to pick it up again because, once again, I am in a Ji Chang-wook phase, and I'm at around the same episode that I dropped it last time, and I'm still not feeling what everyone's feeling. But I don't want to fully drop it again because I feel like the fun stuff is coming later. I'm in episode 9, and it still doesn't feel as fun as what others are saying it is. This feels like what I felt about Vincenzo, where I tried to list down my usual suspects for why I'm not enjoying something. Usually it's like, oh, I don't like the actors or I don't like their characters, which is not true. I have nothing against the main leads or the main actors. Or, I totally disagree with the story of the show, with the moral of the show. Not really. I have nothing against it. Those are my usual suspects as to why I don't like something. But, I have nothing against this show, nothing against the actors, the writer, the director, nothing, really. Even if it's a 2014 show, it's like, I've watched several shows from that era. It's really not that dated to me anymore. I'm just not having fun. And everyone says it's supposed to be so fun, and I'm wondering, why am I not having fun? So, I don't know. Seems like a me problem, but I really don't want to let go. So, I'll come back to it someday. You may hear from me someday.
Everything about you, oh, everything about you. 마주친 눈이서 너를 담아낸 순간, everything becomes love, oh, everything becomes love. 우주를 내매다 나의 지금.
So yeah, that's it for me today. Let's list down my current top 10 K-dramas that I've watched this year. 10th place, The Sound of Magic. 9th, 2521. 8th, Our Blues. 7, Love All Play. 6th, On the Verge of Insanity. 5th, My Country, The New Age. 4th, Business Proposal. 3rd, Yumi Sells 2. 2nd, Pachinko. And number 1 for 2022 is My Liberation Notes. No one was surprised. Absolutely no one was surprised. Yeah, okay, if you want to know, I'm watching other things, not just K-dramas. Recently, I watched the 2 seasons of Bridgerton. I watched Only Murders in the Building. I'm excited for the season 2. I watched Abbott Elementary. That was fun. Still, I think the last 2 episodes of Stranger Things 4, watching that slowly. Earlier today, I watched Shoplifters, the movie, the Koreeda movie. I'm still a little shattered by that movie. I have not fully processed it. It was great. I exactly my vibe. I'm starting to think I should be watching more Japanese media, like either movies or J-dramas. I'm starting to think their sensibilities are a little more where I'm at the moment. I'm also reading. Can you believe I'm reading? I read Persuasion, the Jane Austen book recently. The trailer was terrible. That is not my Anne Elliot, okay? I will not be excited for it, but I might hate watch it just to see. Just to see what's going on. But currently, I'm reading Emma by Jane Austen. I'm gonna go through all of her books. But yeah. So announcement, yes, this is the last episode of Drama Buds for a while. I really can't say when I will be back. I'm experiencing the slump. It's here. It's happening. And, last time I tried to push through with it, right? I tried to just keep watching things, you'll make it out eventually. And that slump I'm pretty sure lasted from like January to September. Okay, and all the shows, all the ongoing shows at least that I watched at that time, I ended up not really appreciating. Like, what were those shows? Vincenzo, Beyond Evil, Law School, like things that, maybe I would have enjoyed this if I were not forcing myself to watch. But the more you force it, really, you're just not going to enjoy it. So I want to protect myself as a viewer and protect my enjoyment of K-dramas. My Liberation Notes wrecked me. Okay, I was too in love and now it's gone. And just like Yumi Jong, when Mr. Gu left, I'm gonna work on myself for a little bit. And hopefully when I come back, I will be ready and refreshed and happy to watch. But I will be finishing my currently watching list, my currently ongoing list, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see when I will be back. Maybe for the next quarterly recap at the end of Q3. We'll see. But yeah, that's it for me today, and that's it for me for a while. It's been a great time, everyone. I've truly enjoyed making this podcast, and I have truly enjoyed watching all these shows and writing down all my thoughts and sharing them with you. And I hope that you enjoyed listening to me. You enjoyed listening to this, no matter how rambly I could get. But yes, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you someday. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, and tell me what you thought about today's episode. See you soon!